Hello, both sides of the conversation family. We welcome you to this virtual space crafted especially for you. My name is Jada Curry, and I'm both sides of the conversation's marketing director and graphics design specialist. I want to take some time to ground us all as a community into this space we are about to open up in, so let's go through our community standards. Both sides of the conversation is providing a safe and honest space for open conversation, so we ask that you all be respectful of that. We also ask that you be respectful of each panelist, host, and participant. We do encourage healthy debates and conversations. Don't personalize anything with anyone. This includes name-calling, bullying, trolling, or shaming. This will not be allowed or tolerated. Your perspective is yours. It is not a prescription. You do not have to agree, but show respect. These community standards apply to all of our live shows and any virtual spaces that we hold on social media, including YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. We want to make sure that we are caring for each other as a community. This is our priority in all of our endeavors as both sides of the conversation. With that being said, I hope you enjoyed today's show and continue to stay in touch with us via YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or all of them. All right, thank you for listening and see you soon.
Welcome, everybody, to Both Sides of the Conversation. I'm John Henry, Executive Director. Today is Thursday, so you know what that means. We're going to have another Educational Thursday presentation. Today, we're going to have a phenomenal sister come up here and talk about how to impact our communities. She's here locally in the Bay Area, so it's just great to have another power force coming on this platform to get community excited and get ready to move our community forward as we are going to continue in this year of 22, do all of the things that we do new. We're going to build new relationships. We're going to build new friendships. We're going to build new financial wealth. We're going to be doing a lot of stuff in 22, and these educational presentations are very, very important for community. So we're just excited to have another one for our community tonight. With that being said, we're going to jump into a couple of world announcements, some of the community announcements, and then we'll get started with tonight's presentation. If you all missed it, they've been talking about over the news, but the jury has been selected for the federal trial over George Floyd's killing for the 3 officers that were involved that was with Derek Chauvin. The proceedings are going to be happening. This is the civil rights violation, and the 3 officers have been charged separately. And we're going to see how that all takes place. But they are doing a jury selection, and they're going to be looking forward to starting the first day of federal trial starting soon. So that's just great news to see. The ball is still rolling, it's still moving as we try to get through all of the proceedings for what took place for Brother George Floyd. With that being said, Mitch McConnell is trending right now all over social media handles, comments that he made. Basically saying that the black vote was just as much as American. U.S. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell made some comments related to voting rights, basically implying that African Americans are not Americans in his speech. As you all know, we're going to continue to be fighting for voter rights. Voter rights suppression is still happening. It's real, very important stuff to keep our community civically involved. And I think that's why tonight's presentation is going to be good as we continue to try to bring community together, try to make sure that our folks are staying in these political realms and making sure that the things that we need to make happen for our community happen, especially coming off a great weekend, Martin Luther King birthday weekend, as we start stepping in to Black History Month and we start stepping into this year. We want to make sure that we continue to keep the focus on our community, the issues that impact us, and unite in solidarity as these days that we are in are getting crazier and crazier. Times are getting hard. Inflation is coming. So it's going to be very, very important for community folks to bring community together and make sure that we are doing the things to help impact our community. For that, both sides of the conversation, announcements that's coming up. We are still receiving blessings from the folks in the community. We're still looking for volunteers and support. Everything that we've been asking have been slowly and surely coming, but we still definitely need other support. So you can definitely go to our Amazon Smile, and every time you purchase something on Amazon, no extra cost to you, you could choose both sides of the conversation as one of your charitable organizations, and Amazon will make a donation to us to help support us. Also, our Giving Tuesday campaign is still going on through February 22nd, through the end of the month, and you can still support that way through our Giving Tuesday link, and we'll get that out to community as well. With that being said, some of the community events that's going to be going on and taking place, we have the East Oakland Collective, both sides of the conversation collaboration that is happening again. We're going to have Feed the Hood 20 that is going to be taking place on February 12th from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. We are still looking for volunteers to help get the food out to the community, get some of the hygiene kits and some of the things that we're going to be putting together for community. Our unhoused brothers and sisters will hit these encampments and bless them with food and supplies and kits. So we are still looking for folks to come out and support this event. We need volunteers, people to just pull up in their car. We'll load you up, take you to some of the encampments. We're going to have a whole caravan of folks that's going to be following each other to these different locations and dropping off food and hygiene kits to community. If you would like to sign up as a volunteer, please go to the East Oakland Collective website, or you could go to the Eventbrite for the Feed the Hood 20 event, and that information will be up there. But everybody will be meeting at 7800 MacArthur Boulevard in Oakland on February 12th from 9 to 12. Also, both sides of the conversation, East Oakland Collective is presenting our Both Sides of the Bay Family Bowling Day, which is taking place February 19th from 2 to 5 p.m. This is a free event for family. Everybody can come out in the community, no matter where you at. Sign up. This is a registered event. Please come out and support this event. This is going to be a great event. What a way to get our community together. We got some phenomenal sponsors that is a part of this. Mo Magic, Collective Impact, Brown Bombers, SF Black Wall Street, Bayview Y. There's a number of folks coming together. SF Rebels want to make sure that our community, our young folks and families can come out and have a great time with no cost to them. Everything will be provided for you all. All you have to do is register and show up. So it's going to be a nice event. Looking forward to seeing you all out there as well. There's some free online technology trainings that is happening. The organization Love Never Fails Us, sponsored by Marcusol in the city of Hayward, on February the 8th at 6 p.m. They are doing a 35-week program. If you all don't know about Love Never Fails, they are a phenomenal organizations that deal with human trafficking as well as IT, and they're going to be teaching folks how to do IT stuff. The information is up there on the screen. Please check out Love Never Fails. They are doing some amazing work, and they're trying to bring technology to our community. So what a way to go to this 35-week program, learn some great information, and have an opportunity to get into the IT technology industries. Also, with that being said, this Saturday, the Bayview Casey Jones Playground is open up. For you all that don't know, that is Martin Luther King Playground on 3rd Street in Armstrong. They have revitalized the playground and made it a nice space for folks to come out. We are happy to see it back open, but this is the groundbreaking day. Everything is back open. They're going to have free swimming at Martin Luther King Pool. They're going to have a baseball game. And they're going to have a city job fair. So if you are looking for work, looking for an employer, they'll be having this city job fair on Saturday at this event as well. So save the date. Also, the African American Heritage Night is coming up. Both sides of the conversation will be out there at the Chase Center for the Warriors and Kings game. We are looking for people that want to be a part of this Heritage Night to buy tickets. We'll be putting out the link in the next couple of weeks, but if you want to be involved, you can hit us up at events@bsotc.org and reference the American Heritage Nights. You know, the Warrior Stadium is new. I know a lot of our community folks haven't been able to get out and go check out the new stadium because the ticket prices is out of the roof. But this event is going to be great to partner up with the Warriors as they're going to drop the prices for some of the seating for $65 to $70 for community folks to come check out the stadium, watch the game, and it'll be a great game because we'll be playing against the Sacramento Kings. So it'll be all Northern California teams playing each other for an amazing night to open up our Black History Month. So I'm excited to see community and folks out there. We'll be out there. We'll be tabling, and we'll be out there for that event as well. A number of community organizations and some of our partners will be out there as well, as we are going to celebrate African American Heritage Night with the Warriors at the Chase Center. So hopefully we will see you all. Programming news update for community that know. Our Sunday conversations is the third Sunday of every month. We're going to run with this programming schedule for the next couple of weeks, or probably the next couple of months, as some of our paid sponsorships are going to start booking some of these other dates. So right now, the both sides of the conversation shows, we'll be doing the third Sunday of every month, and then we'll be having paid sponsors and different folks that's going to be utilizing those other Sundays. So please stay tuned. Follow us so you can find out what's going on. We're going to be having some amazing conversations, some amazing things that we're going to be doing with some of our community partners. So please stay tuned. Check us out. Make sure you sign up for the newsletter at our website. Check out some of the stuff that we have going on because it's going to be a phenomenal show and things that we're doing to help continue impact our community. So the third Sunday conversation, we'll be getting that information out to you. What's going to be the topic, our guest. We'll be getting that all out to the community very, very soon. And we also want to give a huge salute to my brother Dante King. I got the book. He came on our Hidden Gem segment. 4 years of the Holocaust. This is going to be a great book. I'm going to start getting into it. But I want to give Dante a huge shout out. Y'all know here at both sides of the conversation, we support our Black and brown businesses and all of our entrepreneurs that come on our platform. And when they come on to promote what they're doing or their business, we always go out and support them. So just want to let Dante know, thanks for the book. It got here. Now I just got to catch up with him and get my signed autograph and, add it, read through it and get it to some other folks. As well as we pushing that information out. So shout out to Dante and all the great work that he's doing. Shout out to the Brown Bombers, man. Want to give a huge shout out to my guy, Raymond Ross, man. Just another brother, community pillars doing stuff to impact community. Shout out to Nate Ford, shout out to Uncle Stank. Brothers in the community doing something, trying to make a change. And we just happy to see more and more brothers coming together, trying to support each other, uplift the community. As we know, we need more males involved in what's going on. Our sisters been stepping up, swinging the bat, catching the ball, taking the shot, doing everything. And we're trying to get more of the brothers in the community involved. And we got some phenomenal folks that are doing things to impact our community. And we're going to continue to start reaching to our young folks as we try to build up the next generation of young leaders and making sure that these young brothers in the community are doing something. So we are excited. There are a number of things that's going to be taking place here at both sides of the conversation. I don't want to give all of the news out, but I do want to say this. We've been receiving a flood of emails about our online store. We are getting close, but I do want to let community know because y'all been asking for the both sides of the conversation hats. We have received some of our hats that we're going to be putting out for community. I know some people have already got their black and red hats. We're going to have some different colors, but our online store is going to be coming up. But while we in this process, there's been some challenges. I will be getting these hats out to community. I'll be out getting these to folks. I know a lot of people have been saying as soon as we get them, and it was a big delay, we was waiting, but we got to move forward. So I will be putting out some flyers today, letting folks know how to connect with us so that you could get your both sides of the conversation hat. And I don't even have a hat. Well, I got one of my hats. For people that don't know, this is what they look like, but we got different colors now. And we're trying to secure the soft pink for the ladies because the ladies been asking. We had some exclusive pink ones and people been beating me up. These ladies been wanting their pink hats. So we're trying to get some pink hats, but it is a challenge to get pink. I don't know why, but it's a challenge to get pink. But we will have more. And as we get our online store up, our drop shipping store soon, we'll be able to get those products and those coats and different things that everybody's been waiting for patiently out to community. But in the meantime, I do have hats. So I know there's a number of people who've been texting, reaching out to me. I'm going to start reaching out to y'all and start filling some of y'all orders and get some of this gear to you. But with that being said, we're going to go ahead. I'm going to close my mouth and let's go ahead and start meeting tonight's presenter and get into tonight's presentation. I think this is great information. I think this is what it's all about when we're talking about kicking off a new year. There's a lot of things, community folks, we got to do better. We got to continue to stay in solidarity, especially in our Black and brown community as we are being hit and impacted the most, especially during this COVID. and continue to stay safe out there, community, as this COVID virus is spreading. I was on a number of calls, and the infection rate against Blacks and Latinos and other folks of color is just out of the roof. So we have to do our part, and we'll continue to help push here. We got some vaccine clinic opportunities that's going to be coming out throughout the Bay Area. We'll be letting you all know some of our community partners. We're going to be partnering together to make sure that we get more testing sites and make sure that we get more vaccination sites for our community folks, so folks are not standing in line for 2-3 hours. Some of the crazy numbers that we are hearing for families and folks to get support. So with that being said, we're going to bring up our sister tonight, Miss Kyra Shabazz. She's going to talk about her presentation tonight, and we're going to go ahead and bring the sister up. I know I said her name wrong. She'll get me.
Yes, it's Kyria Shabazz.
All right, Miss Shabazz. I'm bad with it, but I was close.
You can go ahead with the first slide.
All right. You want to go ahead and introduce yourself before we pull up the presentation? Just introduce yourself.
You can go ahead with the first slide. And
okay.
Hello, everyone. Welcome. As he said, my name is Kyria Shabazz, and I'm here to talk to you about how to make an impact in your community. All right, you can scroll up to the next slide.
Oh, you have to hit it because you.
Oh, I got you. I can control it now. Okay. All right. So again, my name is Kyria Shabazz, number 7 of the Shabazz tribe. And I'm here to really just drop some gems and let everyone know what's actually going on. We hear a lot of things that are not going on, but it's very important for us to know what is going on. But before we get into that, I just want to give you a little bit of background about myself. Okay. So as the gentleman mentioned, I am a Bay Area native. I was born in Oakland, California. I ended up getting my bachelor's in mass communications from Cal State East Bay with a minor in sign language. And yes, if you do not use it, you will lose it. After college, I went ahead and I tried corporate a bit. All right. So I went ahead and tried corporate for a bit, stumbled around, found out, didn't like it. I was one of those folks who thought it was very important to follow the dream, follow and see where it takes you, follow those steps, go to college, major in something, and then jump right into it. Well, hey, I followed those steps, and I found myself in despair. I was working a corporate job, and I ended up having a customer and breathing real hard and real unprofessional and saying, whew, I just can't do this anymore. The customer turned to me and said, well, what is it that you want to do? Well, I said that I want to impact my community. I want to do something that drives me to tears. And this was during 2008, during the Obama election. I will never forget. So within that same customer ended up giving me a resume. Giving me an email to send my resume to the organization that she works for. And what was that organization? Higher Ground Neighborhood Development Corporation. I am now the Deputy Executive Director of the nonprofit Higher Ground. I am a community organizer there. I do staff development, program development. Our overarching focus is with the youth. We do believe that the youth is our future. We are the present and they are our future. Okay. So that is where I started within this community engagement. From then, so for the past 15 years, I have been working with the same organization and my role has changed. I have lifted. So you can imagine the multiple opportunities and experiences that I've been through coming from an organization that we would say started from the bottom. And now we're here. All right. So from my experiences, I then founded my own public speaking platform called Kyria Speaks. Now, this public speaking platform is ways to provide folks like you all, like myself, like anyone who's interested in ways to engage their community. Okay. So, what are we talking about today? Today, we're talking about community initiatives. We're talking about knowing your role. We're talking about creating change within your community. And we do have a recipe. There's always a recipe to make this meal very delicious. We're going to be talking about community engagement, and then we're going to talk about where do we go from here. So, like I mentioned before, a lot of things came from a lot of complaining. A lot of things came from we know exactly what we don't want in our community. We know exactly what doesn't look well in our community. Well, what are we going to do about those things? So right now, I want to really point out some of the major community initiatives that I have had the pleasure to work on and to manage and to partner with so many different organizations. Yes, we are from Oakland. All right. A lot of this work has been done in deep East Oakland, which you're going to hear a lot about as I continue on. And then we recently just spread out to West Oakland. Okay. All right. So starting off, one of our foundational community initiatives started with the TCC Community Engagement work. That stands for Transformative Climate Communities. Okay. So with this work, there were about 14 other community partners to work on this project. We were fortunate to get funded by the city of Oakland to only do engagement work. Shout out East Oakland Collective. They were definitely sitting at those tables with us and making sure that we were performing and making sure that we were rolling out our duties. Now, within this work, now, mind you, we're only talking about community engagement. We're just talking about the surface level. We're talking about the foundation. We were able to work with 6 different deep East Oakland neighborhoods. Okay. Some of those neighborhoods include Sabrani Park, Brookfield, the Coliseum area. Those are just to name a few. Now, within this work that we did within these neighborhoods, we were able to do 3 separate workshops per neighborhood. Now, the important thing about these workshops is that it was purely to gain community engagement and feedback and to hear the solutions directly from the community's mouth. How did we do that? Well, we came to them. We held these workshops in places where communities were already there, utilized. We went to schools, senior citizen homes. And then when we went to libraries, and then when, hey, maybe some people still not showing up, we went directly to them. We went to the block. We posted up on the corner. We wanted to get direct feedback from the community members that these issues were affecting the most. The best way to get it is from the horse's mouth. I know y'all heard that saying before. So within this work, we were able to analyze this community work. We were able to write down these community solutions, and we were able to break down neighborhood by neighborhood exactly what solutions and what community members wanted to actually see within their neighborhoods. Shout out East Oakland Neighborhood Initiatives. That's the group that we were a part of. And these are the type of collaboratives that only moves us farther within any community that you're in. If you are in Antarctica, if you are in New York, or if you are in East Oakland, you must have a collaborative of community partners that have different expertise, different talents to come together to really solve these issues that plague a lot of our communities. All right. So within that, you all heard about what we did, and we all heard about the community actually providing solutions. Well, from that work, we were able to pull some of those solutions and go for more funding. All right. We were able to go for the actual implementation grant. And this grant was awarded to the city of Oakland to Higher Ground, as well as 5 to 6 other community-based organizations. And for that, within this grant, it tackled different issues: transportation, housing, food, equity, all about 5 or 6 different issues, and we went ahead and tackled the transportation. We were so fortunate to partner with the Scraper Bike team from East Oakland to deliver quality bike enrichment program to our youth. Okay, so let me just rewind it a little bit. We engaged with the community. They told us what they were lacking and what they needed, and then we actually implemented exactly what they said. And this program came directly from youth. It came from schools. It came from parents. It came from all other partners as well. So that grant was a $28.2 million grant that's going to be spread over 2 years. We're in year 2 of this, baby. As you can see in the picture, we're rocking and rolling. And the fun part about this is that every session we are able to take bike rides throughout East Oakland to really show our students that this is your neighborhood. We're able to go to places like the MLK Shoreline to reintroduce them to places that they may not be aware of. This program not only teaches health, but it teaches about bike mentorship. It teaches about bike education, bike safety, as well as bike careers. And it's going on right now at Brookfield Elementary, as well as Madison Park Academy, the primary side. All right. Another very impactful project is our Brookfield Greening project. Now, some of you all may know, some of you may not know, but Brookfield, the neighborhood within East Oakland, is one of the top 3 places for poor air quality. There's Brookfield, there's Richmond, and there's Detroit. Now, because of that, we were able to get funding to actually dig up the concrete within Brookfield Elementary School and actually come up with solutions by planting trees, plants, outdoor classrooms. If you take a look at this picture right here, that whole entire, imagine those trees and those bushes that are not there. Imagine all of that as cement. And that wall right there that you see, that's the only thing that blocks the freeway from our students from the school. That's the exact reason why we were awarded these funds to come up with these solutions. That's the exact reason why the air quality is so horrible in that area, okay? So within that, and that's my guy, Archie. He's a local environmentalist that works with the organization. We were able to maintain this greenway. Now our students are able to utilize this to talk about the watershed process. Now they're actually able to measure their air quality and actually see what type of air quality that they're in at that moment, at that time. They're actually able to learn how to plant trees, to learn how to grow their own food. And they're actually able to take their STEM education and bring it all within this environment that they're in. All right. So keep in mind that 880 freeway, the reason why that air quality is so bad is that 880 freeway, only big rig trucks are allowed to go on that freeway. 580, we all know they're not allowed to go there. Can't go there. All right. Only big rig trucks are allowed to go on 880 freeway, and that causes huge issues within our Black and Brown communities. We're here on the flatlands dealing with this asthma, dealing with this smog in our area. So these are just some of the solutions that we came up with, working with several community partners to make sure that this happens. All right. Next project we have is our Youth Workforce Development Program. Now, this is the first program that I actually started. I started it within our agency. I started my own lane within the agency. I saw that there was a need for employment for our youth, our middle and high school students. This is the issue that we had. We had our students to graduate elementary school, and then they're off, they're gone. But then we made those relationships. We made such strong bonds with them that, of course, they're coming back on campus. So what do? Put them babies to work. We make sure that we put them within the after school program so that it works for both of us. And this actually created jobs, created funding for our youth. Okay, so within this, we partner with Roots Community Health Center. Shout out Roots Community Health Center, to ensure that we are employing middle, high school students throughout the year. This is year round. And these internships vary from youth development, from environmental to administrative assistant. These students are able to do all types of work, and as well as work with their younger generation. So they're not already creating the impact, they're creating impact for their younger generation as well. They're learning real skills, real tools, and this is all about college and career readiness. Okay, so we work with over 50 students per year, and I'm sure it's more than that because I'm about up to 30 right now, and we still have a whole school year to go. So within that, then we're able to provide summer internships to these same youth. Okay. I've seen some of my youth go off to college who come back and then work for the agency, still keep in contact, still work with me on some other level. These are the skills and these are some of the solutions that we're doing to make sure that our youth are being served, to tend to make sure that they're being occupied, and not just occupied with filler in time. This ain't no babysitter club. Nah, this is a place where students are actually learning tangible skills to take them into whatever level or the next thing that they do within their life, whether it's college or career, whatever it is. We want to make sure they have the tools so that they are equipped. All right, moving on to the next project. Yes, it's a lot going on in Oakland, y'all. It's a lot that they don't talk about. It's a lot of stuff that don't make the news. This is the stuff that's not making the news, but it's making real impact in real time. We also have our San Leandro Creek project. All right, this is also happening in deep East Oakland. This creek spans, and then it spans from San Leandro, and it ultimately leads to our ocean. This creek is right along the 880 freeway, and it's in the back of the Madison Park School, as well as Plan and Justice. Now, within this project, we were awarded about $4.5 million to revitalize this creek so that this creek can actually be active. Right now, it's nothing going on there. Kids cut school, they go hang out over there. That's about it. But for this creek project, we're going to be building an outdoor classroom. We're going to be building bike lanes. We're going to have festivals. We're going to have places where people can come and perform. We're going to have places where you can come and do sports, soccer. We're going to have places where community can come and have a conversation. We're talking about the basics of it all. Okay, everyone? This is what's going on in East Oakland right now. And as you can see, the pictures are very important. From that outdoor classroom and from these ideas came directly from the youth. I got the proof. The proof is right there. We're holding brainstorming sessions with our youth. We're getting their ideas. We're actually teaching them, this is how you create a plan, and then this is the next step to implement this plan. But it only can be done with youth voice. Okay. Another way that we're impacting, you just mentioned MLK Day. So, MLK Day was last Monday, and we knocked it out the park. For MLK Day, for this past MLK Day, we had about 7 projects across 3 different neighborhoods. We had 250 people show up during a pandemic. I had like 367 on Eventbrite, but you know how that go. About half a show up. So we had about 250 people show up and show out. So within these service days, these are things that are ongoing. These are things that are very necessary to really address the environmental issues that are happening within whichever city that you're in. But we're really paying attention to East Oakland. So within these service days, we do MLK Day, we do Earth Day, Cesar Chavez Day, Creek to Bay Day, and Clean Air Day. Now, these service projects are taking place in Madison and Sabrani Park, as well as Brookfield. And then we recently branched out to MLK Shoreline this past Monday. It's also happening at Low Bobby Hutton Park. That's going to be for Cesar Chavez Day. That's all about the partnerships that we created and that we gained and that we continue to work with within our community. So the projects span from murals, as you can see, we do tree planting, we do maintenance, we do senior homes project where senior citizens can't get outside and really do the yard work that they need to do. We came and knocked 5 houses out on Monday. Okay. We collaborate with the schools to find out, okay, what is it that you actually need? They need an organization for their book room and they need furniture built. We had people for that. Of course, we did a community cleanup all through their thing. So it's very important that these are ongoing projects. These are some solutions that happens. In service days, yes, it does take a lot of work, but it starts with that little effort. It can be you and one other community partner and focus on, and that's the very important thing about service days. You have to have a focus. You can't just get out there and just doing anything. All of these projects were directly from what? You guessed it, from the community's mouth. These are the things that they wanted to do, that they saw fit. And these are the things that are ongoing. We don't just do it and move on. No, we make sure that it's there. And we make sure that it's sustainable to last. All right, I'm just going to take a little break just to look through the comments to see if anyone had any questions about any of those community projects that are going on right now. All right. Well, let's keep the party going. So next, we talk about projects, we talk about implementation, but we want to talk about the folks who don't actually know where do they fit in all of this. What is their role in all of this? Well, whether you're a resident, a business owner, a community organization, or a large corporation, you play a role within the neighborhoods that you serve. As a resident, take pride where you lay your head. Know the issues that surround you, and I bet you will be the very instrument in bringing awareness to these very same issues. As a business owner, you are obliged to provide more than just a product. You must provide a way for your customers to receive services on the very issues that they face day to day. Community organizations, combine your superpowers with your local schools, other community-based organizations, and businesses and residents to be a force to reckon with. Large corporations, I ask, what footprint are you leaving on our neighborhoods that you serve? Where do you start? And how do you reach the people on their level? Knowing your role is very vital in any situation that you're in. So let me tell you a little bit about my role. Well, like I said, I'm from Oakland, California. I ran track and cross country at James Logan High School. Go Colts. Now, when I got to James Logan, we were already a very established track team. We had runners like Kelly White and Olympic coaches like Remy. As a child, I always wondered what was my talent? What was my niche? Well, what about me stood out? I wasn't a gifted dancer. I couldn't really sing. So what was it? Then it happened right there in PE class. I started racing for fun. Those races landed me on the 8th grade track team. Now, I found it. I'm fast. So, of course, I'm very excited about that. Fast forward to my freshman year of high school. I'm now on the varsity track team effortlessly. I felt pretty elite when it came to track that summer into sophomore year. I was excited to return and take my rightful place, right? Well, I entered the locker room that season only to be met by the dream team, a squad of freshmen that's been running together since they were 8 years old. My leap into stardom immediately took a back seat to the talents of Taya Stewart, Brittany Dudley, and Cherie Craddock. Now, of course, what? You guessed it, they all read my event smoothly. Well, now I did not just tuck my tail or complained and switch events. No, instead, I played to my strengths. I remained consistent in practice. I learned from the friendships and guidance and showed up every time I was given the opportunity. This landed me a third leg on the 4x4 relay. My role, there go that word again, your role. My role was to maintain the lead. And trust me, it's always a lead with these ladies. Now, my role was vital in making us NCS champions and getting us to the state meet. It would have been easy to see my role as insignificant since I had the slowest time amongst the three ladies. But check this out. My slowest time was our competitors' fastest. With intentional coaching and a team with built-in motivational mind frame, their successes became my successes, which is a mark of a true champion. Your role as a resident, a business owner, a community organization, or a large corporation has to be vital in carrying the baton to win the race, maintaining the lead. You must play to your strengths, whether it's showing up every day, whether it's knowing the issues that surround you, producing resources for your consumers, and combining superpowers with others to join forces. Identify your role so that you can serve your neighborhood to the best of your ability. All right. So all of that, knowing your role, ensuring that you're playing to your strengths, ensuring that you play some part of the game and knowing what that is. And that's what life is anyway, right? It's finding out our passions, finding out what really gets us going, finding out what makes us cry, what makes us smile, and actually playing towards that to the best of our abilities. All right. So creating change in your community. Always say there's three easy. It's not easy, but it is easy. It's easy to say. And as you continue to work through it, there's three simple steps that you can do to actually start to begin creating change within your community. Number one, find out who's doing the work. Find out who's doing the work. There's no use of recreating the wheel. Find out who's already the big wig on the boss. That's okay. You learn from those people. You join with those people. You find out what it's already going on, and you find out what's your strength. What are you going to add to something that's already in effect? Number two, gain partnerships. Partnerships is about the biggest part of my job right now. And without partnerships, none of these projects are ever possible. Gain partnerships. I just recently, Korea Speaks recently got a partnership with Charlie on the Spot. And we are now delivering workshops to entrepreneurs, new and emerging entrepreneurs, about the things about running a business, the things that you need. Now I have a strength and she has a strength, and we have two totally different businesses, and then we combine them together to join one force. Like I said, gain partnerships. The partnerships is what's going to lead you to the promised land. Okay. Not everyone has strengths in every area. So it's very important to lean on those partnerships where you see fit. And of course, number three, You have to make your list. You have to actually be aware of those things that you want to see. We see a lot of people complain. We see a lot of people don't really know how to take action. They see the problem. Well, list out those things that you see fit and work your list. Work that list so that you are able to actually accomplish those goals, that you're able to actually see the difference in your community, and that you're able to actually gain and connect with those other folks to actually say, hey, we did this. We did this. All right. And as we come to a close, of course, we want to talk about, well, where do we go from here? Where do we go from here? I have some suggestions. Of course, these are just things that these are ongoing conversations. And of course, the solutions are not always just going to be right there in our face, but there's just a few things that we can discuss. We can invest in our youth, of course. We can gain partnerships, have conversations like we're having now so that you actually get ideas on what types of projects, on what types of solutions that you may need. Listen to what people need and want. You have to listen to these to folks. A lot of our folks are not going to run to the voting polls. A lot of our folks are not going to run to those city council meetings. But if we are carrying that baton, carrying those community voices, we can make sure that those things get implemented. We have to listen to, so we have to sit on neighborhood committees. We have to be a part of these groups. Most of these happen after work, but we must maintain that energy, maintain that consistency. We have to be a part of these neighborhood committee meetings that are making decisions for you and your children. Attend city council meetings. You must have a say so. All of this information is public. It's up for us to go after it. You must offer your opinion when it's asked. Just recently, Oakland has just been hit with the whole new redistricting process, all right? Oakland is now choosing where their districts are going to lie. And this is the first time in history that they're actually asking for community voices to have an input on where those lines are drawn, okay? It's so important that you are contributing your time, you're contributing yourself, you're contributing your ideas, your thoughts, so that you can be heard. And also, of course, invest in yourself. I never, there are times where, you stop believing in yourself. I actually, about 4 years ago, had a wonderful pep talk with the founder of Higher Ground, which is one of my mentors, about investing in yourself, betting on yourself, knowing that you are enough, knowing that your voice combined with others is what's actually going to make actual real movement within these communities and to really take a stand. So again, my name is Kyria Shabazz, number 7 of the Shabazz tribe, asking, how are you engaged with your community?
All right. Great presentation. Happy to have you here tonight. I mean, that was very powerful, energetic information that we need to hear. It's all about doing the work. And I'm glad you said that, because we got enough people out here that ain't doing the work. Okay. A lot of people sign up for the money, but they ain't out here doing the work. And one thing about us here at both sides of the conversation, we're going to always keep it real for our community too, as well as you are fighting for our young folks and for community. We believe in that as well. But we have enough property pimps in our community taking advantage of our community struggles and not bringing the resources and services to our community. So in 2022 community, we're going to do a better job of these very topics that you talked about today, partnering up, trying to get folks to think outside of the box, because at the end of the day, our people are being impacted, not only in DC, Oakland, all across this United States of America. Our Black and brown folks are being impacted in so many different ways. And it is just important for us to get out of these realms and these old traditional ways that we have of how we do business, how we engage community. You know, the CBO work, the nonprofit work have become so territorial, and everybody's working in silos, and everybody's trying to, you know, and I'm glad you said that, people trying to come together, work together, partner up to do more. I think that's what it's all about. And, you know, we support all of our community partners as we work across throughout the Bay Area and beyond. And it is so important. And, you know, I want to give a huge shout out to East Oakland Collective for the amazing work that they do to impact our community every day. You know, watching them do the work, you know, we very selective of who we're going to work with, who we're going to partner with. Because again, like you said, doing that work is real, right? And you don't want to be aligned with people who are getting funded but ain't doing the work. You know, I go to a lot of these meetings and I'm arguing and fighting with people all day because I hear all these people when it's funding coming down or things coming our way, everybody like, we got to meet our people where they at. But then they telling our people in the community they got to come to their office, they got to come here, they got to go online and do this. You know, meeting people where they at is being in the community, being at the front doors of our folks in the community, and making sure that you're a part of the community events and you're engaging with our community. Too many times folks are always talking about meeting people where they at, but they know where to be found when it's time to meet people where they at. So we're going to continue to just push that unity here in 2022, just making sure we bring that solidarity, you know, to the community. But, you know, you talked about being, you know, it's a track and passing the baton, you know, and I see you doing all of this stuff with the young folks. So I got to ask you this question because, you know, we're always, you know, harping on transition of power in our community. I think a lot of time the Black community gets slated because too many times some of the leaders of the community, some of the elders of the community are not so vast of passing the torch and passing the baton to our young folks so that they can get involved. And it's not a lot of them, but there's a lot of them who holds on. And it seems like our communities can't move forward because some of these old ideologies, some of these old traditions, and some of these old thinking models that our community have sometimes hold us back. So how do we really build a gap between our young folks, our elders of the community, and our community organizations to have that transition happen and have our young folks working with the elders, and each group feels supported and uplifted?
Wonderful, wonderful question. So we're talking about that generational gap, right? So that generational gap that comes. So let me tell you how it came in my way. So when I started in this, yes, I look young, but I'm grown. When I started in this, I was about 25 years old, and I'm sitting on community meetings with my elders, complete elders, and planning and coming up with and discussing and having conversations. So a lot of it was placing ourselves in the same room, placing ourselves in on the same project, placing ourselves to make sure that we are aligned with the same goals. So what did we find out? That we found out that all of our goals were the same, but we had just different ways of going after them, right? So of course our elders, they, you know, we go with the times. They did what was great for within that time. So it's very important that we still lift up exactly what they want. We have to still lift up exactly what they have already done. And then we just put our little, okay, well, this is a way that we can still get to the same goal, but it may be a different way. But we have to make sure that those goals are aligned, ensuring that our goals are aligned and making sure that we're lifting up what our elders already did and what they're already saying, and ensuring that meeting those same goals, but we all know that we're going to get there in a different place. So we've got three different generations working with us. We got the youngsters, we got my folks, and then we have our elders, my guy, Coach Archie. And for example, I take everything that he's about 65 right now, and we do these projects together. Yes. So that's a huge part of it. I'm working with our elders directly, and I'm taking everything that he's saying and I'm putting it on paper, and I'm making sure that it's implemented with his vision. So that's a lot of that way. That's a lot of the ways that we can really hone in with that generational gap.
Yeah, that's very powerful stuff. I'm glad you said that. And I've been sitting on a couple of meetings of the Oakland, the brother elders, and different things of that nature, trying to connect with the brothers. I'm just happy to see a lot of the guys coming through, stepping up, doing this work. Because sometimes in these meetings, when we talk about these commissions, we're not represented with Black males in these meetings. So we're trying to get our young males and our males of the community engaged and involved, and work and collaborate with the queens of the community to make these changes happen. But with your youth program, and right now, not only in Oakland but across this country, youth violence is on an uprise. When we talk about youth mental health, youth incarceration, there's still a high percentage of violent crimes and things that's happening that's impacting our youth in the community. And a lot of times the elders of the community are not wanting to deal with the young folks. They don't want to engage with them because they're afraid, but how do we really get more and more folks involved with our young folks? I find doing this work is a lot of young folks that just need love, support, encouragement, and they just need opportunity and resources to be available. I do a lot of reentry work with our young people, and too many times the resources are not there. And when we're talking about being innovative in our community, making sure that our community young folks have opportunities, the organizations of the community leaders, we definitely have to make sure that the resources are available, these programs are in place before we promote them. Too many times we have all these, opportunities that people are talking about, but when it comes down to the actual getting into these programs and actually being successful, sometimes it's a challenge. And I hear from a lot of young folks, but we know how the funding sources work, and we know how when this funding come out, these cycles and things of that nature. But how do we be a little bit more intentional in 2022 when we're talking about programming, engagement, and community? How do we be intentional to be better at making sure that those resources are available for sign up, for activity? And how do we help those folks who come at home that might not have that connectivity or that access?
Well, I'm going to go back to the basics of how do you manage your classroom? How do you manage your child? How do you manage your toddler? Give them something to do. Okay. We have to make sure that our youth are filled with roles that are actually of value to them, not just busy work. We have to actually appoint our youth at certain parts of decision making. My assistant, yes, I help run a whole $1 million organization, but my assistant is about 16 years old. Okay. So we actually have to empower our youth to give them actual roles that they can relate to, roles that they are actually interested in, and actually giving them that control and giving them that power to really create their own destiny. We're not here to say, okay, well, you did this, now you're punished from this. No, we're going back to, all right, well, since you did do this, what is the solution that you think you see fit? All right. Giving those options to make those type of decisions of controlling of their lives instead of leaving it all up to us. Especially, I don't want to be responsible for all of that. So ensuring that we're giving our youth meaningful roles to fulfill in order to really make an impact and to really take it and actually it means something to them. Okay. I've had some youth who, staggered through the program. Some have joined the gang, some have fell off, but the majority, and I'm telling you the majority, when I say about 85% of our youth, they graduate high school, they attend post-secondary education, and they follow back and say, hey, this is what I've done. So at a very early role, we must put the power into their hands. And this takes more than just us, because we know that it takes this is where that negotiation and where that liaison is going to fit with actually getting that word to those higher ups. So we have to actually be the voice for our youth to ensure that they are that they have a stand to stand on, that they actually have a voice, that they actually have a role within this city. If you don't have a role, if you don't have a job, if you don't have a task, if you're just walking out aimlessly, there's going to be a bunch of options that may look good for you, that may not be well for you. But it's our job to hone in on that and to provide those opportunities for our youth and for our folks who are just coming out to get reacclimated within this. We have to create space within the community for these roles to be established.
Wow, very important stuff, very powerful stuff, sister. Definitely, we got to reach out and connect with you because I think what you're hitting on is very, very important stuff. Like you said, it doesn't take. We don't need to reinvent the wheel. Just come together and make things happening. But while you on the topic of redistricting, and I know it's happening across this country. In San Francisco, they're redistricting. Every urban community across this country are redistricting. And I'm not always so in favor of these redistricting policies that they're trying to put in place. One, because I know gentrification is real, and I understand some of the loopholes with redistricting and how it can negatively impact our communities. But on the basis of what you was talking about, getting people involved, when it comes to that civic arena, and getting people to move to vote for whatever reason. In the Black community, we typically move for the national presidential election, but we don't get into the local stuff. So in 2022, as we talking about being new thinking, building new relationships, doing new things, how do we really engage our community civically? And we're going to try to do that here with this platform to bring some of that awareness and education to our community, why these votes are so important when we talk about redistricting, when we talk about our local DAs, when we talk about local policy folks and local council folks. Why is it so important to be in these processes and understanding what these folks are behind and what they're moving for, especially right now when you look at what's going on in the Democratic Party, this progressive movement and some of the things that are happening. How do we keep our folks engaged and up to date with that information and keep them energized to stay apart? I mean, because right now with the voter suppression that's happening across this country and some of the things that's impacting us here locally, it's just not enough folks, getting involved and being part of that process. So how do we re-engage people for these processes?
Money. So first off, people need to understand that when all this funding comes, trickling down, yeah, we got the 28.2 million, yeah, we got the 4.5 million, yeah, we got the 500,000 over here. All this money comes trickling down from the initial bill that gets passed by Congress and legislative, right? So we all know that this funding are within these bigger groups. And so then it takes these different assembly members, these Senate, it takes these different people in office to vote on these certain bills. And within these bills, all of that is tied to funding. So once those bills are coming down, like I can literally trace exactly where all of our money came from. So once those bills are coming down, it then goes to the state, it goes to the city, it then goes to the district, and then it comes into our pockets. So for instance, Black Culture Zone pays community members to go door to door to knock and talk about stuff like this. So that's one of the ways, is paying community members to actually be involved in this. There's actually funding for this. Having organizations tied together to actually inform our folks to ensure that that message is getting out there. So that's a huge part of the puzzle. A lot of us don't even know that that's what's going on, but that's the only way that the funding even comes our way. Nothing has to do with luck. It's very important that you know who you're voting for and to know what they stand for, because that's going to really determine how that money is going to pour within your neighborhood and within your community. And yes, just because we don't see it right off the bat, that doesn't believe it don't exist. Trust me, I've seen it. I said, oh, this pass from EPA, that's how we're able to get money to build that greenway within Brookfield Elementary, within the Environmental Protective Agency. Now you see those big agencies, but then all of that stuff is trickled down because they have to give out that money. Okay, they have to distribute those funds. So we have to ensure that our people are informed of what's in stake, of what type of jobs are being offered, and what they can do to make sure that we're all on the same page about this, and to make sure that money coming to our communities, it very matters on who you vote on.
Man, very, very important stuff. I love your passion. I'm looking at you and I'm feeling myself because I get very passionate about this work. And I love your energy and your compassion about it. We need more folks to get fired up about this work. And, while we're talking about this environmental issue, across this country in the Black community, we are suffered the most when it comes to being placed in these areas where there's high toxic chemicals and things of that nature. Advocating for our community and the places that we live, this civic work that you talk about is so important because, our votes can keep these industrial corporations from bringing these toxic chemicals into our community. Throughout this Bay Area, people are being impacted with asthma, different cancers, and different things just from those environments that we living in. And then just as well as, our spaces that we have, just being impacted by trash and litter and feces, different things. How do we keep that call to action going? Because, it's like everything in this country. Too many times, everything becomes sloganized. It's Earth Day, it's Green Day, and these are the only days we get energized to move, or it's Giving Tuesday week. This is the only time people want to donate. Like, how do we keep people throughout the year? It's 12 months to stay engaged, because we have a lot of issues in our environments. Especially around these bases and around these train tracks, a lot of chemicals and that corporations are, putting out. Not as bad as some states, but there's some states that are just impacted even worse. But how do we really, I'm always trying to figure out how do we get these community folks who are being impacted by this environmental stuff to get involved with environmental justice work.
Yeah, so that's what we actually are work. That's our next project right now, is engaging community members to be informed about their environmental work. About their environmental circumstances, and as well as provide more solutions. So one of the things are ongoing service projects, not even to designate just service days, but ongoing service projects throughout the community as well. Make sure that you're planning it out and that you're consistent with maintaining it, informing our folks that this is the type of air quality that's here, and this is what it means for you, and this is what it means for your family. So a lot of this is making sure that people are just informed. There's a reason why you have asthma, and that your daughter got asthma, and that their daughter got asthma, and making sure that they are educated on that level so that they can understand, oh, I wasn't born with this. I might have been born into this, but this is not what this was meant for me. So I feel like doing ongoing projects, ongoing service projects within neighborhoods, within communities, and ensuring that those needs are being met, ensuring that those solutions are being hit. Education is the biggest part of it. Right now, we inform our students about how, because we're at the flatlands, and so when it rains, there is not because, oh, you just live in a dirty place. No, all that rain from the hills, from up there, from who they told us who's living good, all that trash and all of that come tumbling down to you. And that's why it's at your gutter. That's why it's in the front of your house. That's why I see it in front of my house right now. I'm like, where did this trash come from? Ain't nobody littered. No, it's because of where the placement is. Educating our people to know that this is environmental racism, and that is strategically planned to take us out. But check this out. No, we're going to have to come stronger and harder, and we're going to have to come with actual solutions, and we're going to have to be provide a voice for the voiceless, to let them know that we are not going out like that, to let them know that these are the plans and they need to fund us for these plans so that we can continue to move on, and so that we can continue to build our communities, and so that we can actually breathe. We're talking about the basics. Breathing, okay? So without that, we must inform and educate our folks of how this process is happening, what's happening, inform our folks to demand for this funding to fix these certain issues, and then fix it ourselves. Okay. So that's a lot of what we should be doing.
Wow, I'm there with you. I'm marching with you. You got me fired up. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go. And I'm glad you put it that way. And that's just the way it needs to be said. You know, there's too much complaining. We have enough people shouting about what's wrong, and not enough people that's willing to do the work, getting dirty and doing the work. And I think that's, like you said, what we need to do is we need to get involved. Each community member, each homeowner, each resident doing their part. You know, too many times we see these issues in our community and everybody just, I don't want to deal with it. It's not me. But again, to make change, it takes us all. We all have to walk in solidarity when we're talking about impacting our community, building up our community. That's what we believe here at both sides of the conversation, making sure that our community are impacted, and we're blessing them by doing the work and making sure that these resources and information get there. And as you start building out those projects, definitely we would love to have you all come back and utilize the platform to educate our community. This is what this Educational Thursday segment is really about, getting information to our community that sometimes our community just don't get for whatever reason. We know sometimes it's intentional. People don't want us to have this information. But when you're talking about environmental justice, you know, just really re-educating our community in different districts and different parts of our cities to understand some of those chemicals and some of the things that's impacting the community and why we're having these health conditions. Because even though COVID is spreading crazy across this country, there is a number of health issues that impact Black folks every day that we're just not tuning in. And a lot of people are dying because of these issues, and they're just blaming it on COVID, or they just blaming it on other things, and they're not highlighting what's really going on. So definitely a very, very important stuff to bring that awareness and education to our community. And we'll continue to do our part, and we'll continue to collaborate with those organizations that are trying to work together and trying to just do everything that we can to uplift. And that's why we're reaching across the Bay. We're reaching across the South Bay. We're reaching out to these different community organizations to work together to uplift the work, and find out how we can partner, collaborate, and work. Because I think the more of us that are in it together, the better off we are. No one organization can do it all. It takes a little bit of everybody to do something, and it's enough opportunities. I'm not saying it's enough funding for everybody, but there's enough opportunities that if we work together and utilize the funding that are out there, we can really do some very impactful work in our community. We're going to continue to do our part as well to impact our community, bless the folks, work with those organizations, and break down some of the way we've been doing business, because we don't want to be the community of oppressors oppressing our own people. And to the gatekeepers out there, to the big organizations who have the stable funding, and they have all of the things that our larger, smaller organizations don't get, we also encouraging them to make sure that they help those smaller organizations, because a lot of those organizations are doing the actual work. Some of the larger organizations are just too large to do that work, even though they secure most of the funding because of their stability and their the processes and financial leverage that they have. But when it comes down to actually connecting with the people, a lot of times it's not happening. And again, we have to utilize every organization, every part of our community to get those smaller organizations, grassroots organizations, connected, because they have voices and they have connection to the people in the streets, to make sure that the voices of the people get heard, so that we can move as an organization, we can move as a community, so that we can move our elected officials in the right way to get business done, and not just keep running around with business done as usual.
Yes, I couldn't have said it better myself. And I just want to point out that Higher Ground, the organization that I do work for, we did this work for free for years. We went to every community member meeting. We were hosting service days. We were doing the workforce development program. All of that stuff was for free. So us now getting the funding is because we're like, okay, hold on. Now they actually need what we build to actually continue on to be successful. So keep in mind, this was not no easy work. This was not we wrote for this grant and whoopee, we got it. No, it took years for us to get on this level, to get that type of funding, because we actually did the work.
Wow, I can hear it out there. You ready to just say, put some respect on our name? I see it coming. But no, that's what it really takes. It takes a lot. Building an organization is a lot of pitfalls, a lot of ups and downs. A lot of challenges. And it's great to see organizations thrive. and you all doing the work, because it just goes to show through dedication, through commitment and consistency. The biggest part of it, things can happen. We make it look easy. You know, when we do these organizations and we run this stuff, everybody just think it's all peaches and cream. We make it look so good, but it's a lot of work that go behind the scene in the trenches. And, you know, people, we just need our community to get engaged. You know, more and more community folks get engaged, because again, as this country is changing, it is changing rapidly with the increase of inflation, the cost of living. We're going to need our community brothers and sisters to get involved with these processes so that our voices can be heard and that we can have our voices meet the needs of the policymakers to make these changes. Because if not, we are in trouble. I am proud of my youth in Oakland. I want to give them a shout out for protesting earlier this week, you know, walking out of school, stepping up. And these are the young leaders that we are talking about. And I'm just happy to continue to see more and more of our young folks speaking up, caring about their self-care, their health, and making sure that they get the right resources and services that they need so that they can continue their education and continue to do the things that they need for community. So very powerful stuff. It's a lot of great things going on in deep East Oakland. I'm happy to be a part of some of the work. We got some stuff that we're working with Roots and some of the other East Oakland and Oakland organizations. We ain't gonna forget all of them, the West, the North, the East, and the South. There's a lot of stuff going on, but definitely in deep East Oakland, I have to say they are taking the lead. They have passed the baton and they are doing the work. And I've been out there at a number of events, working with a number of folks, and just checking out some of my community organizations that are doing some amazing things. Shout out to the Kingmakers. Them young brothers is doing some phenomenal things as well. You know, and there's a lot of great things happening. And I'm just excited to be a part of it, be a part of some of the processes that happen. And some leadership changes that's going to be happening. A number of our folks from the community running for office, running for mayor. You know, so I'm excited. I'm watching everybody. I see Treva and all of them out there running, and you know, I'm just excited. I see Greg Hodge, and it's a lot of good community folks that are doing some phenomenal stuff, and Brother Taylor running. So, you know, it's going to be a great race. I want to see what it all comes to, but I mean, those are great community folks who are in offices to try to make change for Oakland. We know this is one of the last hubs of our folks here in the Bay Area. And I want to continue to encourage our community here in San Francisco. We have dealt with this gentrification. We have watched our people be displaced and moved out of this city, and the cost jacked up so high that can't nobody come back. And we want to make sure that we educate, work together with our brothers and sisters of Oakland, and let them know some of the policies and some of the things that were put in place and how a lot of our folks were bamboozled when it came down to this change. And we know they've been moving into West Oakland pretty heavy. And I know they're starting to put their little footprint in East Oakland as well. We want to make sure that our folks get ownership. And that's why this year we are focusing so much on our health and our wealth, because we need ownership and we need mental health and we need these services for our community so that our young folks and our community families can sustain and be here to maintain these properties and be a part of the communities that we all have been so fond and raised in. So great work that you all are doing. But before I start closing out, if there's anything you want to say, any shout outs you want to give out to any of the organization that you're working with, please take this time and do it with all that passion and energy and let them know you appreciate them and you giving them their kudos as well.
For sure. I want to for sure give a shout out to the Power 100 ran by my very great friend, Barry Victor. They're doing phenomenal work, and their whole job is to pay people, give people funding for whatever that they're trying to do. So it's a phenomenal organization. You want to make sure that you go donate if you want to become an ally. They're doing incredible work to ensure that they're empowering and lifting up the people who are actually moving within this community. Definitely want to give a shout out to my sister Sadiqa Shabazz. She's in Minnesota doing great work with the youth as well within her community, teaching the youth about arts, about really finding their talents, about really taking it to that next level. Special shout out Smooth Cuts barbershop over there, ran by Ibn Shabazz. very community-oriented brother on 67th and International in East Oakland. No cussing allowed over there. None of that extra stuff. It's a very community, family-oriented barbershop, and you can go and get educated there too. The brother got some books for you to read. And then, of course, we got Put Your Play On Productions, ran by Salima Jones. She produces conscious plays about things, social activities that are going on. Some plays about domestic abuse, some things are about drug abuse, some things are about the relationships that we're in, but they're all informative and they're all to educate us and to give new actors and actresses a way to really showcase their talent. For sure, shout out I Kill. He's a Bay Area rapper doing a lot of work. AKIL. That's my other brother. So he's a Bay Area rapper doing a lot of work. Go make sure you go download his music, stream it on iTunes. A positive brother, positive music. And we only up from here.
And great stuff. Just glad to hear all those shout outs. And now that you are part of the both sides of the conversation, we'll be leaning on you to tell them, hey, man, y'all need to come on and promote y'all business, because every Tuesday we have our Hidden Gem segment where we continue to highlight our Black and brown businesses, our entrepreneurs, our community leaders and community organizations that impact our community. And then every Thursday right here, continue to educate our community with these powerful PowerPoint presentations and really talking to our community, getting them motivated and, encouraged to get out and be a part of the process. And then every Sunday, third Sunday now, we're having our Sunday conversation. And those other Sundays throughout the month will be different topics that our sponsors will be handling. So we got some stuff coming up, and we want to connect with all the folks who are about connecting and doing the work, uplifting. Right now, we are in a time where we don't have time to be competing. Different organizations, we find it too much, are trying to compete with each other. And, what we really need to do is uplift our community. Again, like you said so eloquently today, sister, we got to work together, uplift each other, partner up, and really have impact on our community, because our community folks need us more than ever. When we talk about the mental health, the substance abuse, the housing issue, it is just impacting our community tremendously. And we need all of our community organizations and folks to get out of their egos and get out of some of the things that hold them back from being great leaders and start leading by example, work with each other, forgiving some of those pitfalls. We know over the years, there's always those historic issues, that impact community organizations from working together. But we have to lead by example and start putting our thinking caps together and figuring out how do we work together and impact our community positively so that we can move our communities forward. So we just excited to continue to do the work we're doing. We're going to be out there in deep East Oakland doing more stuff as we continue to partner with our East Oakland partners. But again, it's not about where you're from. And I always tell people, because too many times we get caught into where we're from, right? And we got to start getting in 2022 the mindset of Black folks. We have to meet our Black folk. We don't care where you're from. You Black and you brown, and you got issues and you need support. We got to figure out how do we work together to make sure that our people get that support. So that's what I'm really looking forward to, because, too many times, that's why it was so nice to work with East Oakland Collective, work with some of these other organizations, reaching out, from here to San Francisco to Oakland and beyond, just making sure that our people are impacted. We're going everywhere. We've been to Sacramento. We've been all over the Bay Area, impacting our unhoused folks, working with our community folks from different cities, because at the end of the day, we're about the people here. All power to our people, and we want to make sure that our people are uplifted. So thank you again for giving up your time tonight, coming on both sides of the conversation and coming to bless the people with some great information on how to impact their community. And I hope folks took this information tonight and they could go ahead and start putting their thinking caps together and find out who they could partner with to start moving our communities together. And let's march forward in this 2022 as we continue to push forward to make our communities a better place for us all. So with that being said, community, this Sunday, we will not have a Sunday conversation, as we will be transitioning to our third Sunday conversation, and we'll be putting that information out, what it would be. And then we have some of our sponsors who are going to be dropping some stuff out soon for their Sunday conversations. So we will be having these Sunday conversations happening, but they will be going through our paid sponsorship. But we will have our third Sunday, both sides of the conversations happening. And, we just excited about some of the stuff that we're going to be doing as we approach Black History Month, as we start moving into these spring and summer months, making sure that our community has the resources and information that they need. This Tuesday, we'll have another Hidden Gem segment, y'all. We'll be here this Tuesday again for our next live show to highlight our Black and brown businesses, as well as our community leaders and organizations that are doing positive things, like this great sister here, impacting our community. We're going to bring them on Tuesdays so that we can highlight them and make sure that their information get out to the community, and we can find more people to patronize their building businesses or come support their organizations to uplift, to start moving our communities forward. With that being said, if you haven't went to go get the book, go out and support our brother Dante King, The 400-Year Holocaust. This is a great historic book to talk about some of the things in the past that took place, and some of those things and those laws are impacting us today. These very laws from 20, 40 years ago, 100 years ago, still impacting us today. Great book. So go out and get it. I'll start busting through these chapters, and we'll be talking more about it. And Dante, I know you're watching somewhere. Don't forget, you got to get me a signed autograph, brother. I need my signed autograph, and I'll catch up with you soon. But thank you all for tuning in tonight. We thank you all for all the continued support. If you want to go to our bowling event, please register. Go to our Eventbrite, sign up. This is a registered event. We're going to have COVID protocols in place. So please go register, and we'll be getting more information out to community as we get closer to the event. We're only a couple of weeks away. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a great time. Looking forward to this event. So please tap in. Our young folks, families in the community, please bring your kids out. This is a family event. We want to make sure all our young folks and our family come out and enjoy the day with some other community folks. These events are to bring our community together so people can start knowing each other. We want our young folks to start knowing each other. The biggest problem in our community is the disconnect. We got issues with people that we live right next to because we don't know them. So this is an opportunity for our young folks and families to meet other families, meet other community folks, and network, and start building these relationships. I think our young folks, to curb some of this violence, we definitely have to start getting our young family folks and our young community folks to know who each other is, and let them have those introductions, and they know how to engage with each other. So with that being said, thank you all for tuning in tonight. We'll see you all Tuesday. We'll be out in the community at the Martin Luther King Park this Saturday, as they are opening up with the grand opening and getting folks back in the community. Y'all see both sides of the conversation everywhere. We'll be all over the Bay Area. Number of events we're going to be a part of. It's a lot of things that we're going to be doing to impact community. So we'll be seeing you all out there. And community, reach out to me. I know everybody's waiting for their both sides of the conversation hat. We got a number of colors that we have, and we'll be showing those through our social media handles. But if you would like to get one of the hats and support us and donate to pick up a hat, please reach out to us. Go to our Both Sides of the Conversation website, or use the info@BSOTC, and we'll have somebody get out to you, and we'll make sure you get you some of that merch. And soon enough, it'll be up on our website for our drop shipping. So thank you all for continuing to support us, and we'll see you all soon for our live show on Tuesday. Have a blessed evening, everybody.